Y'all already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Prison thieves. So you was just gonna take it, huh? Don't nobody like a thief. Thieves right up there with booty bandits. Just the type that's just when nobody's looking, just gonna creep in and try to take something from somebody. Y'all know I done seen it. So let's relive it. Now there's a big misconception when it comes to thieves and people getting robbed. People say, oh, somebody came in my cell and they robbed me. Somebody came in my cell and they stole my stuff. It's not the same thing. When somebody robs you, you don't have to guess who it is. There is no who did this. When somebody robs you, that means you and the person that took your stuff came face to face, and by one way or another, they took your stuff. Now, a thief is someone that when no one is looking, is going to come up in there and steal your stuff. I told you in Richmond City Jail, dudes would crawl underneath the bunks from one side all the way to the other until they got to the person's stuff they were looking to steal. Then they would take the whole bag and army crawl back underneath the bunks until they got back to their bunk. That's a thief. A little rat, a little mouse, somebody that's snatching crumbs when nobody's looking in the shadows of the night. Let's get into some of these stories on thieves and robbers I met while locked up. All right, so my first story is going to take place, let me adjust this a little bit, in receiving. Receiving is a place that everyone that leaves jail that's headed to prison is going to go. You're going to hit a receiving center, a reception center. You're going to hit a place where everybody that's in there can have any charge. You could be in there for habitual jaywalking all the way up to mass murder. You all start off in a receiving center, a reception center. This place is designed to find out where you need to be, what level, where you need to be housed, and so on and so on. When I show up to receiving, it's a dorm, 50 plus bunks. There's bunks down both sides of the outer walls, and then there's bunks set back to back, straight down the middle, and then there's these lockers. These lockers are like what you remember in high school, what you would see in a gym, a full-size 6-foot tall locker with different shelves on it. Each man gets his own locker. In the center, it gets a padlock. I get to receiving and I notice that maintenance is in there, and they're replacing lockers and locker doors. They would do what's called Lamborghini doors to your locker, and that's where they walk up, they take their hands, they grab the top edge, they pull it, they put their hands behind the lip, and they bend the top back. Then they reach underneath the bottom of the door, they grab it, they lift up, and they bend it up. So now your door went from being straight to bent in half. Now they can reach in and take everything out. As the days would progress, I was only there about a month, a couple weeks go by. I am seeing this more and more. There are times we might go to chow and come back and 15 lockers might be hit. 15 guys that got everything they owned stolen. Your sneakers, your white t-shirts, your wife beaters, your socks, your food, your coffee, your sodas, everything you eat at night, morning, lunch, when you don't go to the chow or if you want a snack, it's all in that locker. Let me tell you what you don't do in this situation. This is important. You need to listen. You need to call out the person that is doing it. Do not go out there and say, I catch somebody stealing my shit. I don't care who it is. I'm going to bust your shit. Anybody can get it. No. At the moment that you do that, you have just self-proclaimed to be the toughest, biggest, baddest dude in this pod that will rumble anybody. I've seen a bunch of different dudes do that, and I've seen the gangs, because the gangs aren't going to deal with no disrespect. Beat the dog shit out these dudes and let them know you ain't gonna do nothing to us no matter what happens. If something like that happens to you, you address it for sure. Because if you stay quiet, they can be like, oh, he's a victim. We can get him. But when you address it, you need to step up and say, hey, to the motherfucker that stole my shit, when I catch you, I'm gonna bust your ass. I'm talking to whoever took my stuff. Not to everybody, but to the man that took my shit. If I catch you, I'm gonna bust your ass. So the locker doors, we would go to Child, Rec, wherever. Doors are getting bent. You know people are seeing it, but ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it. Ain't nobody gonna snitch. You just gotta deal with it. I never had my locker tampered with. I told dudes at one point, they had stole a whole bunch of people's shit, and I made an announcement. I said, yo, that stealing shit ain't cool. It's not. Y'all took their shit, I'm telling you, to whoever is stealing, the day you steal from me, I'm gonna find out who you are, and I'm gonna crack your head open and leave you with a scar for the rest of your life. I never had to deal with it. Now, should I have said that? Probably not. But me being me, absolutely. I'm gonna let you know right off the gate that I'm not one of these dudes you can take anything from. And if you take my shit, be willing to take the ass whooping that comes with it, because I'm gonna try to hurt you real bad to teach you and the next man not to touch my stuff. Well, these dudes get smart, man. The guys that are getting stole from. And some of these guys have had their locker broken into now 5, 6 times. Every time they get something, their homeboy might say, here, man, I feel bad for you. Throw them some soups. Every time this happens, they're getting their stuff stolen. Dudes come up with a way to catch the thief. They come up with a way not to just catch the thief, but hurt the thief. You can order these razors off commissary, and it's a big razor that you shave with, you know. Get your shave on. It's a double-edged bit. Got 2, you know, razors inside of it. They take the razor, pop it open, get the razor blades out. Now they're ordering a whole bunch of razors. After they get the razor blades out, they're taking these razors, they're taping them, they're gluing them, they're doing all these different things to get them to stick to that inside lip of that locker door. So if you were to grab that locker door, put your hand up in there and grab it and pull it, it is going to cut you bad. Everybody starts doing this. Lockers are still getting broken into. The ones that ain't been laced up yet. We all come back from Child one day. There is blood all across the floor. There's guards in there asking the dude what happened. He's making some bullshit excuses. And then right there in the center of the pod, in the dorm, is a locker door bent in half. Dude's dumbass went over there, grabbed dude's locker door that was laced up with razors, went to go grab it, get a good grasp on it, bend it, and when he did, these razors filleted his fingertips, like cut into his fingers. These brand new sharp shaving razors have now skinned meat off his fingers to the point that when he pulled his hands back and let go of it, his hands were just leaking blood everywhere. He goes to the front of the pod. First he goes to the bathroom, tries to wrap it with tissue. The cuts are too deep. Some of these went really, really deep. Some of them took whole chunks of meat off his fingers. He's now telling the guard, I need to go to medical. Guard, what happened? Oh, I accidentally slammed my hand in my locker. You slammed both your hands in your locker and tore meat off 8 fingers? We don't believe you. They take him on the medical, and this dude is dripping blood everywhere he walks. The blood trail starts at the locker that he had attempted to break into. We come back from Child, and we see the blood, we see the dude, and we all know now who it is. But we look over, and it's a bunch of dudes congregating, and we all know who they are. This is this dude's homeboys. And it's going to sound messed up. It was the gang members stealing everybody's stuff. The dudes that are supposed to go the hardest, that are supposed to be gangsters and gorillas, that are supposed to just take your shit, are the ones stealing. Now, like I told you, the problem with this place is you're usually there at the most 60 days. If you've been there 60 days, you've been there a long time. They didn't have nobody to oversee these dudes. Nobody was in charge. So it was just a whole bunch of these young ass, out of control, recent recruits following each other's lead. There was no OG. There was nobody higher rank. It was just a whole bunch of just everyday average low-level gang members running around stealing shit. So from there, dudes started lacing their lockers with razor blades. But then they found a way around that. They would just take their belt off, take something, wedge the locker open, put their belt inside of there, and pull it. And if it cut the belt, who cares? Dude would end up coming back from the infirmary that day, and the dude that he chose to steal from was not anybody that he wanted any problems with. It was an older white dude, big white dude that didn't really bother nobody, didn't have a lot of friends, kind of stayed to himself, because those are the guys they usually go after. They're not going to go after the guy that runs with 20 people, because then they've got that guy plus them 20. You got 21 people wanting retaliation. They would go after the people that stayed to themselves, the neutrons, if you will. Dude comes back in the pod, and you have to come into what's called the Sally Port. And the Sally Port is like the small waiting room, waiting area when you first come in the building that you got to wait in before they buzz the door to let you into the actual dorm. Dude is standing in Sally Port, and you see the big dude get up off his bed and walk up to the front and stand beside the phones. And this young dude comes in, walks up to the control booth to say something, and the big dude just takes off running and punches this dude in the side of his face and just sent him sliding like something out the Matrix. The other little gang member dudes all come running up front, and by now this big dude is on him and it's just smashing his face like he's punching a tomato. Like he's angry at his mom and dad and it's just punching his pillow. Like he's a 15-year-old having a temper tantrum, punching holes in the wall, except he's 290 pounds sitting on top of somebody that's 120 pounds, and he is just pounding his face into mush. Don't be a thief. And if you are going to be a thief, be prepared for what comes with it. This dude came in with his hands all wrapped up, every fingertip wrapped up. Big ass wrap around each finger and then medical tape where his fingers is all cut up. Before he even knew what happened, he went from taking somebody else's stuff to having somebody else reconstructing the way his face looks. I stole in my younger days. I was young and stupid. I never stole in prison. I stole, like I told y'all, with the Florida trip, shit like that. When my back was against the wall, as a youngin', I would do what I had to do. But in my older years, my growing up and years progressing, I started to hate thieves. I don't like thieves. I just don't. If somebody steals, stop, man. You don't take something that somebody else has worked so hard for or acquired just because you feel like you can. And if you do, please know, what do I tell y'all? It always ends bad. Now that's an example of what a thief is. A thief is somebody that steals and you don't know who did it. A thief is somebody that takes something when nobody's looking. Now I'm going to tell you what it means to get robbed, and we're going to break down the differences. Now up Greensville, we had two dudes, man, and for whatever reasons, these dudes couldn't get along. You're going to see a lot of that. You don't pry into people's business. When people are arguing, you might pick up on what the situation is through them being loud, rambunctious, and sharing too much of their situation in their moment of anger and yelling at each other. At that point there, when they're bop, 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 back and forth with each other, you find out what's going on with them. We had two dudes in the pod that were just going at it. And through them arguing, we come to find out the one dude had intercepted some cigarettes that belonged to another guy. They got sent over from another building to our building, and the dude gave them to the wrong guy. He was given a name, what the guy looked like. He walked up to the dude, was like, hey, I got some cigarettes for such and such. Is this you? And dude was like, yeah, that's me, that's me. He gives this dude these cigarettes. Now, this dude shouldn't have done that because this guy's going to remember who he gave them to. The other guy's never going to receive the cigarettes. So he's just invited a whole bunch of trouble on himself. He didn't steal anything. He didn't rob anything. But he willingly accepted something he knew that wasn't his. The guy that got the cigarettes lives in my pod at the time. I'm in 300 pod upstairs in 7 building. And the other guy that was supposed to receive the cigarettes, it was supposed to go to one guy and then to a next guy. The guy that was supposed to receive the cigarettes in another building lived in my pod. Dude pushes up on him in front of everybody. Hey, homeboy, what's up with them cigarettes? What cigarettes? Don't play stupid, man. My homeboy from 8 building brought the cigarettes over, gave them to you. You wasn't supposed to get them. You need to break that off. We're talking 4 or 5 packs of cigarettes. Dude plays dumb. We go out on the yard, and this dude ain't going out on the yard. He got the cigarettes on the yard. He's not going out on the yard no more, the one that got the cigarettes he wasn't supposed to have. So this other dude goes out in the yard, makes sure this is the guy that got the cigarettes, describes him to a T. Yup, that's who I gave them to. You sure? Yup, that's the guy. He's saying he ain't getting no cigarettes. Well, he's a liar. I gave them to him. He's got your cigarettes. We come back in from rec, and dude goes straight to his cell and goes up in his cell and is like, yo, what's up, man? Let me get them cigarettes before I beat your ass and take them from you. And dude is not built like that. Dude is a soft-ass dude. He tells him, look, man, you put your hands on me, take anything out my cell, I'm going to the police and I'm pressing charges. I ain't take your cigarettes, man. But everybody knows it's a lie. Old boy goes and talks to a couple different people, asks them, what should I do? What should I do? And they tell him, what you mean, what should you do? You know what you got to do. He goes to the mop. He sends somebody else to the mop closet at the front of the pod. They get the broom like they're sweeping the floor, just sweeping with the push broom. And they push the broom back to his cell. And there's a blind spot, like I've told y'all, where the camera sits. The camera can point, but it doesn't move. It only sees the center of the pod. It doesn't see the back section of the pod underneath the staircase. So this guy goes ahead and sweeps like he's sweeping underneath the staircase, gives it to another dude, and that dude walks up with the broom because this camera can actually see this cell where this guy lives. And the guy walks up on the camera, gets underneath the camera can't see him, takes a broom, smacks the camera, and it turns the camera into opposite direction. So now nothing that's going on back here can be caught by the camera. It stays like that for a better part of a day. I peep the whole thing, watch the camera get smacked. I know, I'm like, all right, they just repositioned the camera. It's going down. Dude's going to get those cigarettes. I'm going to say it's the second day, maybe the third day at the longest. And after the camera would get smacked, it would take maintenance, usually about a week, to get a request to come in and readjust it. Second, third day roll around. I see a bunch of dudes go down to homeboy's cell, which is a dude that owned the cigarettes. It's a dude that owned the cigarettes. It's like 3 or 4 of them go in there. They come out the cell, and it's some made-for-TV shit. These dudes got long white thermals on that cover up all their tattoos down both arms. They got these blue latex gloves, wrapped on their hands with a little piece of tape, tying it to their thermal, so if something happens, their tattoos won't show. And they've either got their faces. A couple dudes had thermal sleeves, like, the long johns. They cut the sleeves off, pulled the thermal sleeve over their head, cut eye holes. And these 4 or 5 dudes proceed to leave out this cell and go down to homeboy's cell that got the cigarettes. They weren't going down there to steal nothing. They were going down there to rob. They go inside, the dude's door is open, he's in there doing something. 4 or 5 of them rush in. As soon as they go in, there's a button on the wall. You can push the button and it shuts the door. And when it shuts the door, can't nobody else see what's going on. We hear the commotion. The dude is screaming, help me, y'all. I ain't do nothing. And all you hear is that. They're beating the shit out of him. And while 2 or 3 of them beating him, the other ones are searching his cell. They find what's left of the cigarettes he didn't smoke. And instead of just taking that, it's always usually the same thing. They took everything. Took the shoes off his feet, pulled the jeans off his ass, took all his other jeans, and left him in his cell, laying there, lumped up, beat up real bad, in nothing but his boxes. They took everything from his mail to his deodorant to his toothpaste on some, you want to steal from us, we will leave you with absolutely nothing, not even the Christmas card your mother sent you. They ended up ripping this dude's mail and cards up, throwing it in the trash, taking his clothes, what they wanted and keeping, the rest throwing in the trash, selling his sneakers off, eating his commissary, and smoking up the cigarettes that belonged to them. This dude will go on to go to the guards and tell them he got robbed. This is who did it. They asked him, did you see anybody's actual face? And they locked all these guys up. No. Did you see any of their tattoos or anything? No, they had themselves covered up. Well, there's nothing we can do about it then. So just like that, he's now a snitch. He done ran to the police. He done got his face all lumped up and disconfigured. Body all black and blue. Lost everything he owned in life. Because he wanted to be sneaky and take some things that didn't belong to him. And the guys that it did belong to got smart, ski-masked up, went in his cell and took everything. That is the difference between robbing and stealing. I've told y'all before, and I can't say this enough. Keep your dumb ass out of trouble. Whatever you are doing that may end you locked up, stop. If the crime you commit is worth the time you get, go do it. If you just don't care and you think you're built like that, go do it. But when you find yourself in one of these situations, remember what Jay Williams told you. It always ends bad. Don't take nothing that ain't yours. Grind for yours. Show the world that you're a hustler. Show everybody that you can make it happen with your back against the wall. And you ain't got to do it by taking from nobody else, man. At times you may feel like you have no other option, but I'm going to tell you this now. When that option turns into you taking something and then the person finding out that you took from is more than just a victim, but it's somebody that'll bust your ass. Like I said, I hope the crime you commit is worth the time you get. Because you might not end up locked up. You might end up dead out here in these streets. You might end up in a hospital ICU. You might end up in prison with your fingertips cut off. Or a bunch of guys in your cell with masks on their face, beating your teeth out the side of your head. Now y'all know what it is. Anyways, I'm back from Jersey. I didn't realize Sunday was Easter, man. I was headed to Philly. Shout out to everybody in Philly. So many people hit me up and said, Jay, don't come back here, man. Don't come back here. Said these boys out here is on some other shit, man. You got out. You made it out. I will come back to Philly, but I'll make sure that when I come there, I have the right people with me. Me riding around Philly by myself. You got to remember, I did 10 years in prison. I've been out 7. I haven't been back. It's been 17 years since I touched the streets of Philly. Ain't nobody still out there where I was at. Almost 8 of the 10 people I used to run with are now dead. The other 2 are locked up. They said, you come out here, Jay, no matter what show, you could be out here trying to have a black block party and feed the kids. You could be out here doing a charity run. Somebody's going to try to rob you. Somebody with a pistol is going to show up thinking that you're this famous rich YouTuber and they're going to try to get at you. Be safe, Jay. Stay away from Philly unless you got the right people with you. Jersey was awesome. We was in Toms River. If you ain't never been to Toms River, it's cool. But Toms River's got so many cops that if you commit a crime, they're probably going to see you. Somebody ain't got to call the cops. They can be like, police. They've got more cops than I've ever seen in my life. We went down to the shore, checked out the Jersey Shore house where the dudes from the MTV show was at with Snooki and all of them. That was cool. But I'm glad to be home, and I'm glad to be back next to y'all and being able to talk to my family, my loved ones, my friends, my soldiers, man. And I salute all of y'all. Anyway, y'all know what this is, man. This world we live in, this crazy world, is full of these detention centers, institutions, facilities that are crazier than this already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones and the awesome real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute.